So I received feedback from the first What's the Play iteration. I'm going to try to implement that into this video. And that's mostly just in the form of commentary after the play is decided. You just take Murktide here. You don't have an answer for it. Dash Ragavan and hope that he thinks you can bolt off the Dragon's Rage Chandler.
And then I dash Ragavan.
So pretty simply, our opponent's tapped out. He has a 1-1. We have good flips with Monkey if it does connect. We trade with Monkey, and we also have no answer for Murktide, so Murktide's the big.
So you have to do something like iteration and only heat next turn.
I'm with him. This is probably the higher percentage play because of what Andre said. It does take up his expressive iteration turn, which is pretty great. It's a pretty crappy scenario. You have Dash Ragavan and you have Goyf as the two options. Unfortunately, if you Dash Ragavan, they bolt it. If you play Goyf, they can expressive iteration and unholy heat your Goyf the following turn. But as we mentioned in the clip, that does take up, you basically decide their next turn, which hopefully buys you some more time, which of all the options, meaning the two, that's probably the best option. I feel like there's multiple lines that could be made here. There's an argument for not making a dude at all and casting Thoughtseize first into Spyro and discarding your Fatal Push. But I don't hate this either because your dudes can apply pressure by themselves, your Saga tokens. So this one's super easy. It's Storm. So you love hand hate. You definitely want to Thoughtseize here. You can pressure with Saga tokens if you choose to go that route. Fatal Push is also useful for future barrels or Goblin Electromancers. So you like all those options. So the one odd man out is Spyro. This hand isn't really that good. I mean, he kept his hand mostly because he has a turn one answer to Ragavan with March. But that's, you know, other than that, the hand doesn't really have any kind of game. I mean, they can like kind of extend the game a little bit, but their hand's pretty bad. So he's hand hating. He's doing a 1-for-1 to get their 2-for-1, potentially, with Archmage's Charm. Not 2-for-1, but a +1. Because Archmage's Charm can +1 you withdraw too. So, and the rest, I mean, Supreme Verdict isn't really like a horrific card to play against when you're playing Junt. So, and once he saw his blue-white control, he wants to just establish his Ren and 6 because blue-white control struggles with those planeswalkers that come down early. So I said mostly everything in the clip, but what I want to add is in games where you're going to be top decking or it's going to be value-based, grindy, whatever, Archmage's Charm is usually a good pick nowadays. It's pretty much what Cryptic Command used to be. It's a 2-for-1 or it has the option of being a 2-for-1. Personally, I would grab Ren and 6, grab the Bloodstained Mire to give them one less card of info because you're going to be discarding Bloodstained Mire anyway, so I would pull the Bloodstained Mire and discard 2 Bloodstained Mires. Just full-blown hiding.
I don't want to discard Terminate.
I just don't like how much information he gave, in my opinion. So you plus Ren and 6, you grab a Bloodstained Mire, you discard 2 Bloodstained Mires. Then your opponent doesn't know Overgrown Tomb, Verdant Catacombs. Your opponent doesn't know 2 extra cards in your hand. It's just, yeah, I know. It's not huge percentage points, but it is still percentage points. I'd rather have my opponent guessing what I have in my hand than dumping every single land when you could not dump every single land. You have the option of pulling 1 Bloodstained Mire. You discard 2 Bloodstained Mires. You have your Seasoned Pyromancer, and then you have... He said he's just going to play his Bloodstained Mire anyway. You have 2 in the yard. You basically hold back 1 card of information. I think that's just better. So this is a great example of sequencing and these minor percentage plays you can take as a player that will contribute to your overall win rate. These particular examples start with 1 sequencing. And for instance, dashing Ragavan first to kind of vet information, see what our opponent is up to, if they're on a Castle Vantress, if they're on Shark Typhoon, etc., etc. So we start with Dash Ragavan. We don't start with any other play. We do our attack phase first because we have a second main phase. The second is just information. Simply, we could have plussed red in 6 and gone straight for our Bloodstained Mire, played our Seasoned Pyromancer, discard 2 Bloodstained Mires, and kept the Verdant Catacombs and the Overgrown Tomb in our hands. The reason I think that is probably the best play is because we currently have 6 lands, 2 treasure tokens, and plenty of ways of accessing mana. We don't need to play our lands. A fetch is nice to thin our deck by 1. It doesn't add that much, though. I think the information, at least holding it back for a turn, will aid us in the long run overall. Plus, you have to consider Ren and 6 Ultimate. It's nice to discard lands.